In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this really easy 3D heart. The pattern for this can be found in issue 9 of Your Crochet and Knitting magazine. I'll leave a link in the description box below so that you can go and check it out. Your Crochet and Knitting magazine is a magazine packed full of a whole host of crochet and knitting patterns, and it also comes with a gorgeous colour pack as well. Perfect for those of you who like to try out different projects and different patterns. The actual pattern for this heart does call for a smaller hook, which is why you can see through the fabric slightly, but for tutorial purposes a larger hook is easier to see on camera. So I am using the Colour Lab yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, but feel free to swap out your yarn and hook. As I say, go for a lower hook size, maybe a 3mm, even with a DK, just to make sure that your fabric, you can't see through your fabric like you can here. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. As always, I will leave all the details in the description box below, so go ahead, look under the video and click that show more button, and it will reveal a lot of information which I always leave in the description box. Also, if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell button to be notified of when my new videos go live. I would absolutely love to have you as a subscriber. Okay, let's get started. So you want to begin by creating your slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. Go ahead and insert your crochet hook, and we're going to start off by chaining 13. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So we now have our chain of 13, and we're going to work our way back along this chain. So for row 1 we're going to start in the second chain from the hook, so not the one on the hook. This is the first, this is the second, and we're going to do a double crochet. So a double crochet is a single crochet in the US. So insert the hook, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Into the next one, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next one, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. So go ahead and do that all the way along your chain, and you'll be left with 12 double crochets along this row. So pause the video and meet me back in just a moment. So I've just done my 12 stitches, so we're on to row 2, and this is going to be the same for row 2 to 6. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and that chain 1 does not class as a stitch. You're going to go into the very first stitch just here and do a double crochet, and then move across into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and again to the next stitch, and all the way along this row. So you're going to have 12 stitches in this row again, and you're going to do this for rows 2 through to 6. So go ahead, pause the video, make sure you're counting your rows, and meet me back once you've done your 6th row. So I have just done my row 2 to 6, so we have 6 rows in total. Now we're going to move on to row 7. So for this you want to chain 1 and turn your work, and you're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches left at the end of your row, which we're going to leave. So now what we want to do is chain 1 and turn, and we're going to work back along those 6 stitches, and we're going to do the same thing for row 8 to 11. So you're going to go straight into that first stitch and do 1 double crochet into each of the stitches along that half section. So this is my 4, 5 and 6. Chain 1 and turn and do the same. So that is row 8 that I've just done, I'm now going to pause the video and do rows 9, 10 and 11. So go ahead, do the same and meet me back once you're ready. So now that I've finished my row 8 to 11, you can now turn it on its side and you can see the heart shape now. What we want to do now is row 12. You're going to chain 1 and turn, and you are going to do 1 double crochet into each of the stitches. So just as we've done before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. But you're not going to turn your work at this point. Instead, we're going to work our way around the heart. So we're basically just creating a border around the heart. So for round 13, you're going to rotate the piece of work, and on the outside of the L shape, you are going to do your double crochets along this row, so into each of the rows that you have just done. Before you do that, you're going to chain 1 just to move around this corner, and then you're going to go into each of the rows along this edge. So just double crochet into each of the rows because you're working along the rows rather than the tops of the stitch. And you're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the heart. Once you get to the corner, you're going to place 2 double crochets. So I've just done 1 and I'm going to do another one in that stitch, and I'm going to turn my work again. And I'm going to do 1 double crochet into the next 11 stitches. So along this edge is the base of the chain, which we created in the very beginning. So I'm just going to go into the chain and do my 11 stitches all the way across. So once you get to your corner, you're going to do 2 double crochets into that corner section, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to crochet in my tail end a little bit just here. So what we want to do along this edge is do 1 double crochet into each of the rows. So we're going to have 5 stitches in total, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So if it helps, count backwards so you can see where to start. So 1 around the post of the stitch, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This now brings us to the next edge. We're going to do 2 double crochets into that very first stitch for the corner, 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This brings us to the middle of the heart. What we're going to do here is just slip stitch over into the next one, the next stitch, and then we're going to do 5 double crochets along this edge. The first one will be where you've done your slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You'll go ahead and do 2 double crochets in the corner, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Slip stitch into the very first stitch, and then chain 1. You want to leave a nice long end because we're going to create that again and sew them together. So we're going to repeat exactly what we've just done and sew both of them together. So leave a nice long tail end. And then pull that out. So there we have our heart, and I've already done a second piece, so we're going to go ahead and use this long tail end to sew them together. You do want some stuffing because we are going to stuff as we sew. So I'll just grab my stuffing and I'll show you how we can put this together. So in order to sew these together, you want to thread up your darning needle, and then you want to take the corner that you're working on and insert your needle into the opposite corner so that you start to bring them together. Then you want to line up your work and you want to go in one stitch and in the opposite stitch as you're working, and then in the next stitch and in the opposite stitch. And simply do this all the way around your work. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to stop until I just have one side remaining. So go ahead, do that, and then come back to me when you have one side which isn't sewn together, and I'll show you how to stuff and complete. Okay, so I've now worked my way around and I have this opening. I'm going to take my stuffing and I'm going to begin to pack the heart. Now you will see my stuffing through my heart at the moment. That's simply because, as I said at the beginning, I went up a hook size just to make it easier to see in the actual video. But once you use a smaller hook size and you get the right tension, you won't be able to see the any holes in the actual fabric itself. So what you want to do once you've got your stuffing in there is just continue to sew up that last side, sewing into the corresponding stitch on the opposite side. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that all the way to the end, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. So I have gone all the way along that edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a knot in my yarn, and then I'm going to stick my needle all the way through the heart and then cut off the end. So there we have a 3D heart. Don't forget, in the magazine you'll actually get different sizes so that you can make this into a beautiful and unique necklace. I'll leave a link in the description box below. In the magazine you'll also get a whole host of different crochet and knitting patterns, so it's well worth a look. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all of my latest videos, and I shall see you again next time. Bye!